Welcome back to another episode of Network Effect, where we aim to help you transform conversations into actionable relationships that can lead to a sale. Today, I've got a guy who I've been working with going on 3 years, if not more. He has his own podcast called The Field Op, geared towards veterans, and he does a lot of VA updates, some financial readiness, and just some overall veteran banter, which can be off-putting to some, but I love it being a veteran myself. His name is Francisco Correa. We call him Pacho, and I want to start by giving you a little background. This man enlisted in the United States Marine Corps and worked his way up to Chief Warrant Officer, which, being an infantryman, we didn't see many warrant officers. They were kind of that unicorn in the infantry, being an 0311 in a company. So it's been cool learning more about his journey and his perspective of the Marine Corps, working his way up through those ranks. When he got out of the Marine Corps, he still remained in public service. He did a lot of OSHA related safety. He's held titles of loss prevention. He's had titles of senior level environmental health and safety engineer. And now he's branched out and started his own company, which makes him a perfect guest here on the Network Effect, because coming from a military mentality, especially an enlisted men, networking isn't something we're really taught and or do well. With all of that having been said, I'd like to bring on Pacho. Pacho, welcome to the Network Effect. How you doing this morning?
What's going on, Brian? Thanks so much for your time. It's thanks for edifying me. I'm very humbled by that, but it's a true pleasure being here on your show again. So let's get to it, and let's start digging into it.
Well, this question isn't on my list, and this is something I've thought about over the last year or so. I made the intent clear that I did not plan to re-enlist. Therefore, I don't think anybody wanted to waste their time trying to mentor me into staying in the Marine Corps and maybe picking or choosing another MOS. Did you receive the mentorship from senior enlisted or senior officers throughout your military journey?
I was, you know, one thing that I say to people, and it was part of my speech when I retired, that who would have thought that a kid that was born and raised in, excuse me, Medellin, Colombia, who grew up in a farm, basically milking cows, and very humble beginnings, got the opportunity to become an officer and work with some amazing individuals, some amazing leaders in the best armed forces in the world, which is the Marine Corps. So, hey, no disrespect to my fellow brothers and sisters in the other armed services, but hey, we're Marines. We like to brag. Uh, yeah, from the beginning, I guess you could say I was fortunate and lucky to have some amazing individuals kind of paint my path, so to speak. I was always a hard worker. Not for myself, but my mom and dad, my grandfather, who I really looked up to, put some really good values in me. So I just let my work show itself and its quality. So people notice that, and I always have goals and dreams to achieve along the way. So I always knew that I wanted, the next best, what's next, what can I do next, and people just helped me. So when I decided to become an officer, I mean, it was a very early in my career, and I would just ask questions and just be motivated. Yes, I volunteer for just about everything. I know people say don't volunteer for anything, but I did, and those things helped me out. And as a staff sergeant and E6, I in 2006 I became an officer. And it was great being enlisted, nothing wrong with it. It's just this is where I saw myself helping Marines, and and advocating for my community at the same time.
Now, you've worked for some pretty large companies, and I don't want to drop names, and have worked overseas quite a bit. What was
Yes.
networking like in that environment, having left the Marine Corps, and now you're in, a quasi military support style role? What was networking like there? Was it more militaristic where, hey, you're working with Bill, hey Bill, I'm Pacho, and you do your job? Or was there true relationship building and networking going on?
You know, even let's take a quick step back. Even in the military, you have to become a good networker. 100%. I feel lucky and blessed that for whatever reason and calling, let's just call it, I was one of those very few people who wanted to be a recruiter. Why do I say that? Because it was to me, I just I saw this the skills were necessary, and not to knock on my fellow friends who are drill instructors, because they too receive some of the training that we receive at the schoolhouse for recruiting duty. But those skills that I got, I thought I was always a good networker when I was, as a young troop and even staff NCO. But going to recruiting school, man, that helped me tremendously because I could advocate for my community and motor transport. I was able to get a lot of new of the equipment implemented, and even getting out of the service, those skills that I learned, and I was just barely scratching the surface. You and I have had many conversations on this topic, but the skills and the working in the Middle East, yeah, 100%. You had to become a good advocate, not only for what your project as a safety person to get the buy-in of people who to participate and be safe on our program, but also get the funding for certain equipment and such from our client, who at that time was the Qatari military. So you got to paint that picture. So yes, you have to be really good at networking and become a better advocate, a better listener, and a better communicator.
Let's let's transition into what you're doing now, because you have become a networking maniac. And I don't say that from the number of referrals I receive from you on a weekly, monthly basis, which is awesome. Keep them coming. I love it. Share with us a story of the first meaningful networking experience you've had the last few months in your new role.
They say that when the student's ready, the teacher will appear. Case in point, and a huge shout out to you. When I was ready to, I've always talked about being a good doing something with social media, YouTube, whatever. And you appeared in the scene, and I approached you about podcasting and learning everything. You became a just not on just podcasting, but in many aspects, a wealth of knowledge. And as I did more networking and on sale, I sell. I mean, I help families. What I do is I help families implement some very specific strategies and techniques that they can apply immediately to grow their finances, protect what they have, and take themselves to another different level as it pertains to finances and everything else. So yeah, although I was doing okay in my business, this amazing individual appeared himself, and I took those classes and just took my networking skills to that next level. So yeah, in around November timeframe, I was, again, like I told you, I was doing okay, but my sales, my I do more now. I attract quality customers. I attract quality teammates onto it. That, man, after November, it just, my sales, helping people, bringing in quality teammates, I mean, grew exponentially. I mean, I did five, I brought on five new teammates and five new distributors, and my sales went up this month, and in no December, which a lot of people on sales kind of tends to tank a little bit. I still met the same numbers. I had the same results. And this month, I'm looking at if not increased, exceed my goal for this month. So it's been an awesome ride. You have to get coaching. You have to get training. This is the bottom line.
And I'm going to have links to your LinkedIn profile in the show notes. And I'll
Okay.
also include a link to the Money Pro, because
The Money Pro, baby.
that's who you are. What do you think separates a good networker from a great networker?
You gotta be out there. Nothing happens if you're not out there putting your face, networking, meeting people. We like to say back in the day, shaking hands, kissing babies, so to speak. That's because politicians used to do that way back in the days. Now it just be weird, and you'll get canceled or some crazy like that. But no, you have to be out there because you never know where that next person is going to lead you to. You don't know whether they could become a client, they can refer you to somebody else, or they could be, part of your team. I mean, you just never know. And because yeah, we can start out. A lot of us start out with our friends, family, just putting the word out there, and that's okay. But I can tell you this: you have a much better you have a much better chance for a client becoming a friend than a friend becoming a client. I mean, that is, yeah, you have to put yourself out there, whether social media, whether it's in public at a Starbucks, talking to somebody in line at the grocery store. You gotta go out there and expose yourself and get yourself a little uncomfortable to reap the benefits later on.
Absolutely. With the amount of networking you've been doing lately, what are some common mistakes that you've seen other people make in a networking environment? And if you want to throw yourself under the bus, please do so.
A lot of us start out with an elevator pitch. I no longer call it an elevator pitch. Uh, a lot of us go out there and we hunt. We hunt for our and you hear those terms too. You got to go out there. You got to be a lion, and it's fine. Yes, initially maybe those things will work, but and because look, I did it myself. I was and I would not pester, but it was just kind of because we go by what people say and what is the norm. But so you have to get coaching and training and start using different things like language that converts, because at the end of the day, nobody, absolutely nobody cares what you have to say. People only care about what they want to hear. So when you start implementing things that, again, words that convert to what they want to hear, people will be more open to listening. Okay, well, let me see what this person's got to say. So when I'm talking to a prospect, I don't tell them, hey, are you interested? I don't, because now people get all guarded. Oh, he's trying to sell me them. I said, look, at the end of the day, if you don't want to buy this, that's okay. This might not be for you, but it might be for somebody else. Let me tell you what we're all about. And then I just go into the strategy session that I give them. And if it makes sense, great. If not, great, because I'm not here to twist anybody's arms. I'm going to make money in the sense that I know about finances. I know where I want to be, 10, 5, 10 years from now. I know where I'm going to be. When after people meet with me, they're at a crossroads. Now they know how money works. Now they know things like compound interest and how they can implement it. The choice is there to keep losing money, or they can go and make more money. Does that make sense?
Absolutely. Absolutely. Thank you for that. Let's shift into tools or
Okay.
strategies that you use to maintain these relationships. And I can share a little bit. My sales cycle is long. Therefore, I have hundreds of people that I need to maintain that relationship with after I've met them, until I realize they're going to be a good referral partner, or maybe they'll be a client. So I'm not smart enough to keep hundreds of conversations in my head over months. So I
Right.
use a CRM. Are there any tools or strategies you use to help you maintain these relationships?
Oh man, you know, that's such an amazing point and question. Yes, you have to. Uh, those who you have to get organized. And when I say this out loud, I'm talking to the man in the mirror. No pun intended, right? You got to get organized. Yes, because there's going to come a time where you're going to grow. Initially we all start out, we're planting seeds, and a couple of months later, a year, whatever, those seeds are going to flourish, and then you're going to have, people, hey Brian, hey Pacho, are you still doing dot dot dot? Can you help me out? I think I'm ready. Okay, great. So you want to track those folks, and yeah, like a CRM, a client resource management tool. I Because I wear a couple of hats. I'm Because of the licenses that I have. Obviously, I'm heavily regulated by the Securities Exchange Commission, as well as FINRA at at the state level. So I have to use whatever tools in whichever hat I'm wearing. But tools like NowSite is an amazing CRM tool. Which, by the way, everybody, Brian is the one who got me using Now. And it's a great day and age to be in sales or to grow a business, in this day and age, because as much as a lot of us watch Terminator and fear AI, I'm here to tell you, those are some amazing tools that you can utilize to grow your business. I mean, I use AI for just about everything. And again, shout out to you, Brian, because you're the one who brought me uh, to this level, utilizing all these tools. Canva, for my marketing. I do my marketing through Canva. I do my podcast. I use Chat GPT to, help me put a show together in relevance to, military and service members. When I'm talking, if I need to do a quick email, I can use NowSite, because it has such a multi-resource tool for to generate emails, or Chat GPT. Why? Because it's all about time management, folks. The more time you can reduce and get off your plate, so you can focus maybe on studying for that next license in the industry, like I am, or maybe you can devote time to grow another, maybe write that book that you've been trying to write, but you find yourself, not having time. Whatever the case, it's all about time management, and bring that and get time back. Because as we get older, the best currency that you have, as Sly Stallone likes to say, is your time. So be careful where you spend that time, because you'll never get it back. So it's all about having good time management and using good tools like a good CRM, using AI, all those things to make you that much better. And social media, you have to have a footprint out there and get yourself onto the masses.
Absolutely. It's amazing. When I first started in a sales role, I knew nothing about sales. I had 2 weeks to learn everything I could. And the company didn't provide tools. We had an email account. And I talked to the other reps and learned what they were doing. The most organized individual had this massive Excel sheet: name, company, phone number, email address, and then there were columns for every contact. And I invested in a CRM for myself, and it was one of the best decisions I ever made. And that money was coming out of my pocket. The company didn't provide it, but it made me so much more efficient and allowed me to do more in the same amount of time my fellow reps were doing. It was a game changer, and I've never went back. I've maintained a CRM to this day. I've migrated through a few, and it is just such a valuable tool, whether they're clients, leads, prospects, even clients, people that have left my service. They're still in my CRM. They still pop up for a contact, and I still reach out to them. Hey, how's everything going? How's the family? You're close to the burn area here in California. Is everything okay?
Yeah.
It's about relationships. It's not about selling today. It's about that long-term relationship, in my opinion. Any
Yes.
thoughts to that?
No, it's so with, for example, again, as I shared earlier, I do utilize several tools because obviously what I do in compliance. But yes, that CRM tool it's key because you can prompt it to remind you 3 months, 6 months from now, and take copious notes. I'm a very one thing. I'm not the brightest. Let's just say I'm not the sharpest tool in the shed, but I can. But I know where to get the information, and I know how to utilize again other tools. So that CRM will prompt me, hey, today, reach out to Brian Colburn. He's got, he's married, he's got kids, they play soccer, and yeah, I don't call my prospects, the ones that I didn't have a sale with, I call them, hey man, just reaching out. Now, I don't even say just reach out. Hey, what's going on, man? Look, the fires in California, that could be an example. Or, hey, how's little Johnny and his soccer? I know you guys were going on a trip to the division finals, whatever. Oh man. Again, you want to show that you're genuinely interested to forge those relationships, because maybe your product doesn't help them right now, or maybe never. They have friends, they have a network that they can tap you in onto them and refer you to them. Because now if you stay in that market, they'll know that, hey, this guy's not out here to sell me a pack of ice cream, even though I'm an Eskimo, for example. So be genuine, and build those relationships, and the leads and clients will follow.
To that point, you touched on something about being in the industry or market. And when I left sales, I completely changed industry. And I did an email blast and said, look, this is what I'm doing. If you're interested in continuing on this journey with me, please stay subscribed. If not, unsubscribe. And I put a big old unsubscribe button. 73% of those in my CRM in a completely different industry stayed with me. Some of them eventually converted to new clients, new industry, because they needed or wanted what I still had to offer. And I think that's the importance of maintaining your own CRM. And if you use a company provided CRM, ensure you're exporting that on a regular basis. That should be a monthly to do. That way, you can reach out to those people that you've established a relationship with, no matter where you go in business. So
Yes.
that's a great point, Pacho.
Thank
Um,
you. No, oh, go ahead. Sorry.
no, please.
No, no. What I was going to say, yeah, it's all about forging long-standing relationships, and just and being genuine. That I mean that is the bottom line, because if people want to see you succeed. Those of you that really care for you, they want to see you succeed. And if you, in your case in point, you provide them an addition, because people don't buy the company. People don't buy the product. They buy you, and by you doing good, for them or by them, they're gonna they're gonna stay loyal to you. And in your point, 73% stay. Hey, wherever you're going, we're gonna, you lead, we follow. That's what you want to do. And one last thing, you said you switch industries. Don't ever be afraid to mix it all up and start all over again and get uncomfortable. I did a great career in the Marine Corps. I transitioned onto safety, made hundreds of thousands of dollars. I was a six-figure dollar earner, and now I help people with finances, protecting what they have, and enhancing their future that much better. And it's, obviously I'm making you got to make money, so don't be afraid to rediscover yourself in another career field as well.
Absolutely. I think that's a great segue. If you could go back in time, what
Mm,
advice would you give yourself about networking?
man, that's a really good question. Never thought about it. What if, hey, Glenn, one of my favorite movies, and even as a recruiter, I'm not a huge Alec Baldwin fan. Obviously, we have different opinions on a lot of things, but he's a great actor. And one of his best movies is Glenn Ross. If you haven't watched it, everybody, I highly recommend it. But ABC, always be closing, always be networking. One thing that I wish I could have done, or I guess I could go back and change, I would have left the service on my LinkedIn profile instead of 500 plus people. I should have had over 1,000 and more. In other words, build your network and now in a day and age where you have phones with reminders and this and that, just drop a line to a text message. Hey, just doing a buddy check. How are you? That's it. No, you're not there to. So that's what I think that's what I would have done better. Uh, you know, I guess on the networking piece, but I did, but I think I did pretty good. We're always selling ourselves, whether you're a civilian and you're trying to get that next job, whatever, that resume, all it does is just it gets you to the door. And then you sit there, and now based on what you look like and what you're saying, you're trying to sell yourself to get that next position. So become a master communicator, and advocating for yourself. There's no better thing that to advocate for yourself. So yeah, I would have put in more time and effort in getting better at that.
You bring up a good point, and this is something I've been doing for years. And typically, when we do something for so long, it's so close to us, it's second nature.
Mhm.
We don't think to talk about it.
Right.
When I meet somebody online on a social platform that I feel is a great fit, could be a great customer, could be a great referral partner, I add them to my CRM and I slowly build and get more contact information on them so I can reach out to them outside of whatever platform we met. Some platforms makes it easier than others. With the Tool Now site, which you spoke of earlier, it makes it super easy. Uh,
Super easy.
but even Facebook, um, Twitter, I try to reach out and get attention with them outside of whatever platform I met them on. Now, not
Hmm.
every single one of my connections is in my CRM, again, because I don't think they would be a great fit for what I have to do. However, if I deem somebody not a great fit and they reach out to me about business, then I move them to the CRM because I might be a great referral partner to them, which is part of networking. There's a give and take that should never keep score on that. It's just everyone's in business, everyone's trying to feed a family. Let's do everything we can to help each other out. So
Yeah.
that mindset shift of I wish I would have left the Marine Corps with a larger connection base on LinkedIn. Are there any other mindset shifts you believe could help our listeners?
Get out of your comfort zone, and be open to learning new skills, new new skills that could help you get to the next level. Had I not been, case in point, had I not been open, which I almost walked away from this trainer and this mentor who is helping me, change the language and how I approach leads and prospects. And I could have missed out on, on all the fame and glory. I mean, consecutively, I'll give you an example. Twice consecutively, 2 quarters in at my shop, for financial service and everything. I've been recognized twice for bringing in the most security investments within our shop. I mean, last year alone, and I was just getting started. I did $500,000 in assets under management. I plan to triple that this year, if not do more. I mean, so you be open and receptive to learning new things, because there's no better investment that you can do by investing in yourself. 100%. So the more skills, the more knowledge you have, and the more money that you apply on you, it's just your clients and your friends and family are going to benefit from it, because now you are a resource. You are solving, you are a problem solver. People want to have problem solvers as part of their network. Hey, I know. Oh man, oh, you said that, dude. I got a guy that knows a lot about safety, and the dude also knows about investments. Ain't that some crazy stuff? Hey, give Pacho a call, or hey, like I do with you. When I'm networking, oh, you got a podcast, or you're thinking about writing a book. I got just the guy. Let me get you plugged in with Brian Colburn. The dude is amazing, and that's what you do. So invest in yourself and get knowledge. Knowledge is a cliche, but it is power.
All right. I've never done this on this show. I don't think I've ever done this publicly. So I'm nervous right now. But part of networking is asking tough questions.
Okay.
Pacho, in working with me, what is something I could do better when I'm working with a client?
Hmm. Honestly, man, and this is no BS. You know how us Marines talk with one another. I mean, we're pretty brutal, honest with each other. But I mean, dude, I mean, honestly, I can't. I can't think of anything. I mean, to me, you have been. And look, I am to the audience. I am edifying Brian, uh, because he has been I mean, a rock, and just a solid individual through and through. I mean, I would not be here today had it not been for all the knowledge, and just the openness and the willingness, and just you truly want to help people, man. And I mean, I appreciate you for it. I mean, keep doing what you're doing. As I told you, and I'll tell the audience, I mean, you and me are glued, are attached to the hip through and through, because we're gonna make money, and we're gonna make a lot of it together. I mean, because you're an amazing resource and you're an amazing individual. So don't change, man. If anything, keep getting better.
Dude, I was shaking. I gave you a softball to throat punch me, and you didn't take it. So part of business, part of being an entrepreneur is a lot of self-evaluation. And
Yeah.
I evaluate me, my perform at the end of every call. At the end of this episode, I'm going to
Hmm.
take notes on what kind of went left, what I did good, what I need to rinse and repeat. And that's just the way I am. That's how I get
Right.
better. Now, I've identified a weakness when I'm working with a client on the coaching vertical that I offer. And that is, I tend to give too much information. I tend to say, look over here, you can do this. And when you do this, take it over here, and you can do this and this and this and this. And I think that I can overwhelm my clients from time to time. So I'm working on throttling that back and solving a problem or two at a time. Your thoughts?
May I will say maybe. Here's the reason why. You just like you do with me. You share that conversation and the transcript. So if there's something that I missed on my notes or whatever on the back end, I know you're going to share that information. So, and it all, again, when the student is ready, the teacher will appear. So while some individuals may get overwhelmed, like, oh, hey, well, hey, hang on, devil, it's a little too much. Others, it's like, they do this. I'm like, hey, give me more. I am wired that way, and I think that's what made me really successful so far. And in the financial services industry, well, in everything that I've done, is that you want to keep me engaged, throw knowledge at me, educate me, mentor. And I mean, it's like, hey, give me, whatever you can dish out, I'll take. But that's just me. Some of us are different. So yeah, if you want to throw it down, a little bit, that's okay too. Always keep them wanting more, and they'll keep coming back. I mean, throw the lure out there, maybe chum the water just a little bit, not too much, because now you're feeding fish. You don't want to feed fish. You want to give them just enough so they keep coming back.
Pacho, it's been an absolute delight. And it's really weird for me to be on this end of the microphone in having worked with you through many, many podcast episodes. But I truly want to thank you for your time. And if people want to get a hold of you for your financial services, there will be a link to the Money Pro in the show notes. And if you just want to reach out to Pacho because he's an awesome, awesome guy, hit him up on LinkedIn. Let him know you heard about him or you heard him, I guess, on the Network Effect. That would be greatly appreciated. Any closing words?
No, all I got to say is that, hey, if you want to implement some very specific strategies and techniques to preserve your capital, maybe you've been dipping into your 401k or that thrift savings plan if you're in the service, where your finances are looking more, instead of a 401k, they're looking more like a 101k. Let me know. I mean, I'll show you some I will give you a free 1-hour strategy session where I can show you some very specific strategies and techniques so you can stop the bleeding. And maybe if you want to achieve that financial goal, buy a house, go on that awesome vacation, plan for your kids' future, whatever the case may be, I can help you out. 1 hour of your time, free. You can't beat it. The way it works is very easy. Go to meetthemoneypro.com. Watch the video that's on there. Put, where it says now meet with me up in the upper right-hand corner. Schedule a session and we go from there. If it sounds good, great. If it doesn't sound good, that's okay too. We'll become friends. So, and watch my show, The Field Up, on YouTube's, Facebook, anywhere on social media.
Amen. And I'll write a note here to include that link. See, note taker. Pacho, thanks again so much, brother. We will see you soon.
All right, get some.
All right, everybody. That was my good friend Pacho Correa. I'm working on rolling my R's. That's going to wrap it up for this episode of the Network Effect. I hope you've enjoyed, and I hope you've taken something away to improve your networking. Until next week, we'll talk. Let it go. Everybody need a refresh. Go. Yeah.